I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Cybersecurity and Information Assurance from Western Governors University in 1 month and 16 days. Before I formally enrolled, I transferred in 64% of all program requirements, so I only really had to complete 11 courses at WGU. In this video, I'll be sharing my experience of applying and studying as a Canadian student at WGU, as well as providing any tips on how to tackle some of the courses. I was planning to enroll at WGU on July 1st, so I had to complete my commit to start by June 15th. This is basically just providing attestations that I knew what I was getting myself into and that I was ready for it. I had to make payment arrangements by June 22nd and complete orientation by July 1st, so I did all of that, and then I created an Owl's Nest account, completed a couple of the challenges to earn points, and then redeemed those points for a WGU mug and blanket. This isn't necessary for enrollment, but I still recommend you do it because you get a choice between a WGU mug, blanket, or tumbler, and it'll serve as a souvenir of your time at WGU. The blanket is super soft and the mug is something I use regularly. So Canadians can apply for OSAP funding for WGU programs. I applied for OSAP on June 10th. They actually require you to send a program information form to WGU to fill out, so I sent that by email to WGU Financial Services. In the email, I included my WGU student ID as well as a password so that they could open the document. They completed the form on June 18th and sent it back to me, and then I uploaded it to the OSAP website. So you aren't required to complete a FAFSA, however, you are required to complete a Master's Student Financial Assistance Agreement, as well as a declaration and signature form, which you have to upload to the OSAP website. Oh, lightning. I completed both on June 11th and received the confirmation that they were reviewed and accepted on June 18th and the 21st, respectively. My program information form was uploaded on June 17th, and then I waited 6 weeks for them to process it because they say it can take up to 6 weeks. And then I called OSAP on July 26th to follow up on my application, and I find out my application wasn't processed because there was an issue with the form because the number of weeks in questions 11, 12, and 13 didn't match. I sent the form back to WGU so that they could correct it and then send it back to me. They managed to do it within the same day, and I was able to upload it to the OSAP website and get a decision from OSAP at 3:26 a.m. on July 27th. Before the funding could be released, I had to have WGU complete a confirmation of enrollment form first. I sent the form to WGU on July 27th, and then they completed it and sent it back on July 29th. It's actually really funny because I graduated before I could even receive a dime from OSAP. At 5 a.m. on July 1st, I completed the objective assessment for D333 Ethics in Technology. For this course, study the D333 notes, know a little bit about AI bias and proxy discrimination, know the software development code of ethics, be able to identify examples of consequentialism, utilitarianism, relativism, virtue ethics, and deontology, and be able to identify situations where an action might be ethical versus unethical or legal versus illegal. In my mind, this course was actually really easy, and you could and should pre-study it before officially enrolling at WGU. For Introduction to Systems Thinking, I completed my Task 1 assignment on July 1st at 7:27 a.m. and received a passing grade on July 2nd at 11:15 a.m. I submitted my Task 2 assignment on July 1st at 10:15 a.m. and received a passing grade on July 2nd at 11:28 a.m. I submitted my Task 3 assignment on July 2nd at 4:45 p.m. and then received notification that I passed on July 3rd at 2:10 p.m. Task 3 was definitely the hardest because the document they refer you to learn more about the different archetypes was confusing to follow along with. I definitely recommend you follow the template and write your assignment based on case study 2 because it's a lot easier to find an archetype that fits with it, and that's definitely the hardest part of this assignment. In Emerging Technologies in Cybersecurity, there are 2 tasks that you need to complete. Each task took 1 day to do, and I passed on my first attempt. I started on July 3rd and finished everything on July 5th. So task 1 wants you to identify vulnerabilities, the effects those vulnerabilities might have if you left them alone, and the remediations for those vulnerabilities. At the point I was taking the course, I had never used Nmap or Wireshark before, but what really helped me were the cohort videos. They explain to you what needs to be done, and there's a lot of hand holding involved. So you really don't need to know anything about Nmap or Wireshark. And my instructor was also really helpful. He sent templates to use for both tasks as well as tips on how to complete the assignment. The hardest part of the course, especially currently in Nmap is identifying the vulnerabilities as well as the implications and solutions for them. Task 2 doesn't require any technical knowledge, so you read through a scenario, identify WLAN and mobile device vulnerabilities, identify mitigations for those vulnerabilities, and identify preventative measures for WLANs and mobile devices. My professor recommended WPA3 Enterprise and MDM solutions, and that's what I ended up talking about. You also need to reference a regulation or act like SOX, ECPA, or GDPR to support your preventative measures. When you get to the section about the recommended BIOD approach, choose a solution between BIOD, CIOD, COBO, and COSU, and highlight a consideration of the one that you pick and provide a reference. Follow the template, but ignore the part where it asks for 2 recommendations. You only need 1. For Business of IT Applications, which is also the ITIL 4 certification, definitely pre-study it before you enroll at WGU so that you can register for the course, receive the voucher, and then book the test immediately. Value Insights on YouTube has a playlist of 29 videos which I used to study for this exam. You only need 26 out of 40 or 65% to pass, and I ended up getting 80%. For legal issues in information security, there are 2 tasks you need to complete. Download and use the templates in the course chatter. I completed and submitted tasks 1 and 2 on July 9th and received a passing grade on July 10th and 11th respectively. I actually also received a WGU Excellence Award for my work on task 2, so definitely use the template. For managing information security, I submitted the task on July 11th and received a passing grade on July 12th. Just download and use the templates. Information system security was the most annoying course I had to complete at WGU. It has to be completed in person, you can't go back and change your answer, and there's no good resource to study for it. Whatever material I used to study for this exam was completely worthless because I honestly felt like I was going to fail the exam while I was taking it. So I can't really provide any advice because I thought I was going to fail, and also because I hardly remember it. I took and passed this exam on July 16th. I completed Introduction to Cryptography on July 23rd, and it was really hard for me because it requires a lot of memorization. Definitely consult Reddit for the best way to tackle this course because I didn't feel like Sean's PowerPoint guide prepared me for the assessment. I completed Managing Cloud Security on July 28th, and my best advice for that is to consult Reddit. I completed Pentest Plus on August 10th. Definitely use the notes posted in the course chatter. This course was the hardest course in the program because the Pentest Plus objectives list is very long. The trickiest part about this exam is that some items on the objectives list like Python or Nmap appear more frequently on the exam, whereas some other items like steganography tools don't appear at all. Consult Reddit so you know which objectives to focus on, and screenshot and memorize the injections table in the cohort videos. For the capstone, don't get overwhelmed. Download the template, review the information on GitHub, populate the different sections, download Grammarly to ensure your spelling is correct, and then submit it. The capstone took 6 days to complete, and they were very lenient with the grading. My task 1 and 2 I completed without any issues, but task 3 was sent back because my writing wasn't clear, so I resubmitted the assignment and I passed on August 16th, and I applied for graduation shortly thereafter. All in all, there are a number of things I really like about WGU. The flexibility to work at your own pace and schedule exams whenever you feel like it. You want to schedule an exam at 5 a.m. on a Saturday or a Sunday? It's possible. I've done it. One of the main reasons why I love WGU is because of the community. I always felt that everybody I spoke to while I was completing my degree was actively rooting for my success. I always felt supported throughout every step of this process, from admission to completing the program to graduation. There's no group work or presentations, and for each assignment you have to complete, there's always a template available for you to use. You get a lot of industry certifications as part of the program. I received an email advising me that tuition was going to be decreasing by $50 starting in September of 2024, and this is the first time I've ever heard of tuition decreasing. I always received welcome emails from course instructors whenever I started a course, and some of those instructors would also send congratulatory emails after I passed their course. Also, for every course of the program, I could go on Reddit and find a Reddit post detailing the best way to pass a course. I was able to accelerate as fast as I did because of people who shared their experiences, tips, and tricks with others. Overall, I really enjoyed my experience at WGU, and I would recommend it to anybody who's tired of the brick and mortar university experience and wants to try something new.